been about 30 odd years, but I doubt I'll ever forget that day. It stayed with me all this time. Everyone was talking about it at school the next day. I mean, the news reached home even before I did. As soon as I walked in the door from school, my mum ran up and she hugged me tight. She told me she was sorry to hear about my friend. I guess she hadn't noticed that Tommy Galloway hadn't been over for over a year. I mean, we hadn't fallen out or anything, so I guess there was no reason for her to assume we weren't still friends. In junior school, me and Tommy were absolutely inseparable. But as we went through to secondary school, we had fewer and fewer classes together. Until year 9, when we didn't have any classes with each other at all. Yeah, I mean, we tried to meet up at lunch. But it just got to the point where we'd see each other in the hall and we'd pretend not to notice each other, you know. Year 10 though, we ended up back in a bunch of classes together, along with Aidan Mitchell. I've got no idea what happened. I remember Aidan from year 7, when he was, well, not fat exactly, just a bit tubby and short. Bit of a geek, to be honest. Used to be one of those kids with a non-brand everything and a Star Wars lunchbox. And Tommy, he was this fun, wisecracking lad, lots of friends. Now all of a sudden, Aidan's this tall, slim, angry arsehole, decked out in all his Nike swishes. He picked on loads of people, but he seemed to really have it in for Tommy, who was now this friendless, spotty, quiet shell. Neither of them were who they used to be. Neither was I, to be honest. But I had a totally different set of friends, and Tommy would always sit in the spare seat on his own. He'd never say anything back to Aidan. He just sat there and took it. People would laugh, sometimes join in. He just seemed to be relentless. I just kept my head down. I felt terrible. But I wasn't sure what I could do. I did genuinely want to say something. But selfishly I thought, as long as he's making fun of him, then he's leaving me alone. Every night I'd talk myself into chatting to him. See if I could ask him how he was, maybe see if he wanted to sit with us. But when we got to class, it was just easier said than done. I mean, how do you randomly strike up a conversation with your former best friend who you haven't had a proper conversation with for well over a year, and who you've now been in the same classes with for the last few months, but you've never bothered to chat to him in all that time? The day he killed himself, I had an art lesson with him. Mr. Campbell had left the room for whatever reason, and Aidan took that as his cue to start harassing Tommy. Knowing what happened now, I hate to recall it. It wasn't any worse than any other time, but I guess it was just the final straw. He grabbed Tommy's bag and emptied all the contents onto the floor, just really randomly. There was no reason, it just went everywhere. Books, gym kit, sandwiches, all sorts of personal items. And then he just started kicking it all over the place and stomping on the stuff, as Tommy was on his hands and knees hurriedly trying to pick everything up. It was just such an immature, mean thing to do. It was humiliating. Everyone else was laughing and throwing his stuff about. I desperately wanted to tell him to knock it off and help him pick his stuff up. But I just didn't have the guts to say or do anything. Thankfully, Campbell walked back in. It was too late. Now more than ever, I just wish on that very first day of term when I found out we were back in the same classes, I just said hello to him or asked him to come and sit with us. I wished I'd asked him how he was. I feel like such a terrible person. I'm sure I always will. I could have done more. I should have done more.